Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a quick, review and explanation and guide on the fastest way that I know of to get 229 weapons, to get some diverse 268 gear, to get Phoenix credits quickly, and just an all-around really great method for farming. Now, this is a method that has been done by other content creators before. There are videos that exist about this already. It's a very good method, and I'm not trying to just rehash old tired content, but I have had a huge amount of requests from people asking me how I farm my gear, what I do to get it, one of the best ways to get, 229 weapons, where I farmed a whole bunch of my different, guns that I have. I have a lot of stuff I'm going to be using, like my MP7, stuff like that. I did get a lot of my stuff from the Dark Zone, but this method as well has yielded a ton of results in terms of not just gear sets, but weapons, reckless chest pieces, savage gloves. It's a really great method for getting gear. Now, what I'm going to say really quickly before this is that it takes about 8 to 9 minutes with a really, well-geared, well-coordinated team. You do need a well-coordinated team for this. This is not something that can be done solo. And the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to run 5-piece sentry with a reckless chest piece and an M1A or another very good sniper that you're comfortable with. And doing as much damage as possible. You really don't need to worry about toughness too much using this method, but you do have to have the right squad composition. So this is what I'm running, 5-piece sentry with an M1A. I am running skilled on my M1A in the third slot. This allows me to get my signature skill back, multiple times throughout the encounter. And I am going to be farming the 4 horsemen in Dragon's Nest. So I'm going to kick it over some gameplay and talk throughout about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and why this is a really solid method. Okay, so here we go. As I said, an average run takes about 8 to 9 minutes with no difficulties. You can do it in under that. You can do it in about, 6 or 7 really good coordinated squads. We take a little bit more time. We're not experts at this, but we are fairly efficient and we do use it quite often. So I thought I would finally put the video out there due to the tremendous amount of requests for how I farm gear. And for anyone that may not already know about this, I do understand I'm not claiming I'm the first one to do this. I never say that. What I do say is that I want to spread as much good information to the community as a whole as possible, and this is one of the ways to do that. So this first section takes about 45 seconds. There's really nothing interesting here. But after this, when you start to open up the garage door and go through the first 2 phases of the incursion is where you're going to want to streamline things. So you definitely want someone on your team to have immunizer. As you can see here, J Castro Goat has immunizer. You absolutely need someone that has a strong smart cover. As you can see, UE Eker here has the strong smart cover. And you definitely need a maxed out pulse. So Eker is also running the pulse. What you're going to do is you're going to post up on this truck right here. Once he blows the door, which he is doing right now, you're going to hit them with everything that you have. Me being a skilled, signature skill regeneration build right now, having skilled on my weapon, I am going to be able to recharge my sig really quickly. So I pop my signature once we start fighting the first, fat flamethrowers. Hitting their tanks is a very good way to slow them down. Very simple. This part really shouldn't be too tricky for you. It's a bit of a gear check, so if this part is hard and you can't melt them down fast enough, this isn't the method for you. But, utilizing the sentry's marking mechanic, everyone using a marksman rifle, or at least 3 people doing so, will mean that you can do a lot of damage really quickly, and it shouldn't be a problem at all to drop them. Now, as you can see, my signature extends because the tac link has that built in. I would suggest running 2 people with tac link, 2 people with survivor link. You can pop the survivor link whenever you need to, especially in the second part coming up. And, it's a way to save your team from wiping. And then you're going to pop the tac link at key points to increase the speed at which you kill the NPCs and overall just make it a more effective farming method. There's not really anything interesting here. We're just melting down everything that we can, especially while I have smart cover active all the time, where we have a pulse repeatedly going up. And once a target is marked, well over 2 million, critical hits, that's great. I don't even have brutal on my M1A. If I had brutal and deadly and skilled instead of the talents that I have, it would be much better, and I would be dealing, well up into probably 3 mil crits if I actually min-maxed all of the different bonuses. But like I said, you don't actually have to be fully maxed. You just have to have a well-coordinated team with a decently high damage output, and you can do this. Whether or not it takes you 8 or 10 or 15 minutes even, if you progress a little bit slower, it's still worth it because you're killing about 4 Dark Zone equivalent bosses over the course of that time period. You're getting the Phoenix credits, you're getting the drops, and you can all share around what you need, what you have, what you get as drops, so that you can, every single person can gear up into a specific role that they're trying to achieve. I would strongly suggest doing this method, with a coordinated squad. I would suggest finding a squad on our Facebook page if you need to. It's a great place to gear up, and there's going to be a link down in the description. So this is the important part. This is where things get, a little bit more dicey if you're not doing it correctly. You're going to want to follow the exact route that we're running right now. You're going to want to run around without aggroing anything. I always go around this bus. You don't really need to. but it's just a precautionary method I use. You can go up the stairs, such as Eker does right here, or you can actually hop right over this barrier to my left, like I do right now. Or actually, I just look at it. You can hop over that and go right to it, but the end result is that you're going to get to these boxes right here. The ones I'm about to arrive at. You're going to climb up on top of these. You're going to put smart cover down, and when you're all, oriented correctly and positioned correctly, you can fit all 4 people on this box. Now, once you've done that, you're going to put down the immunizer. You're going to start to focus down targets. You're going to do a lot of damage, and the smart cover and the immunizer coupled with the triage from heals is going to keep you alive, despite the fact that you're going to be tanking a lot of damage. Once you've melted down all these targets, you'll actually trigger the 4 horsemen to spawn, and once they've spawned, you're going to kill them for the loot. Now, I'm going to talk about a little bit really quickly now, resetting it. A lot of people, a couple times in the beginning, we did this, so I say a lot of people, but just from my own experience, this is a factor. Before we actually knew how to do this farm properly, we actually came in, and then we redid it a couple times, just like letting ourselves die after we had killed the 4 horsemen bosses. That does not work. What you're going to need to do is actually reset the entire incursion. You're going to have to do the first portion again. So previously, before the patch that they implemented to fix that, you could just do this over and over without having to do that, but that has since been fixed. So you got to restart the entire incursion, and a really easy way to do that is to just go to the map screen, just hit select heroic, or from heroic select challenging, and then once you've all teleported to the front of the mission from challenging, select heroic again. You're good to go. You can run back in and do it again. One thing you need to pay attention to is the axe carriers that spawn in the back. If they get behind you and climb up on top of the boxes with you, they can actually wipe your squad. That is one way that I've encountered where squads can wipe. Another is if Pestilence specifically, after you melt down the first 4 horseman boss, will get to you. He'll stand on top of you, he'll flamethrower you, and you can wipe that way as well, though it's uncommon. That's why you have those signature skills. Once you've triple stacked all the targets, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. If everyone's using a marksman rifle, you should have a low enough time to kill where you can just melt through the bosses without a problem. But it does take coordination, like I said, so you're definitely going to have to be on the same page with your team. Make sure the person with smart cover is popping it routinely. Make sure that they definitely call it out when it's up, when it's down especially, so you know to all pop your heals or maybe pop a signature. And then pulses has to be active at all times as well. So sometimes the NPCs can be a little bit, dodgy. They'll hide behind things for a long period of time. It gets a little bit annoying. But overall, it's not that not that hard. It's very fast to clear. And then once you have these 4 horsemen spawn, there's a very specific pattern that we use to deal with them, and that is you want to kill the one that spawns right behind you first. Obviously, he's just going to spray you down with a flamethrower if you don't. So as soon as he pops out, you're going to pop a tactical link and melt him down as fast as possible. As you can see here, I call it out. We pop the tac link, and then we all just focus fire him in the head, and he goes down extremely quickly. Once he's down, you trigger an infinite spawn. That does happen. So from there, you're going to want to focus down the rest of them as fast as you can, while still juggling, once in a while, killing, one of the adds that gets close. As you can see here, one of the axemen did get on top of us, and our buddy UEJ Castro Goat took him down. That's his role. He had an automatic gun, so he was the one dealing with the axe carriers that got close to us. Now I'm focusing down Pestilence. We did almost wipe here, but it's also extremely important to note that you need to have one of your team have 2-piece final measure and very high EDR. If you don't have that, you will wipe in unfortunate circumstances like what just happened, where a car gets too close and the AoE, ability does detonate on top of your team, or something like those shock mines that you can see were just thrown. One of those could wipe your team as well if you all go glass cannon. It's very important to have someone that has super tank, or at least close to it, and a lot of EDR so they can survive whatever comes at you. Now, as these bosses get closer, it becomes exceedingly important to melt them down quicker. We start to do that. We just killed our second one. Now we pop a damage reduction signature because death is right on top of us. And when he is this close, while we have the signature ability active, it becomes easier to land those headshots and get him down. And then we didn't actually focus Pestilence in the right order. He should already be dead, but it doesn't really matter. We had the signatures available for us to draw on, and we killed him very quickly. From here, melting down the rest of the trash mobs is not that hard. You want to do it as quickly as possible because the cars are extremely annoying, and you have to stay on this box until those cars and all the engineers with the red hats are gone. If you actually leave the box before the engineers are gone, if one of your teammates steps down off of this box, it's a very bad thing because the cars will instantly zoom over to them and then detonate, and the AoE area of effect actually is going to be big enough that it can wipe your team. So you definitely all want to stay on this box at all times if possible. So as you can see, I did get a gear set piece. I got a couple drops in the back corner here. I got Phoenix credits from all of the bosses, and overall it's a really great method to farm, and I would recommend it for anyone that's having trouble, getting the pieces that you want to complete the builds that you're trying to complete. It's really good. Just one last time, I did not, invent this method. I've been using it for a while. There are some other content creators that have stuff out about this, but I've received just an overwhelming amount of requests to cover this and to show an effective way for farming gear other than like the dark zone or something like that, because a lot of people don't really want to go in there. So that's about it. I'm done covering it now, and from here on out, I would say do this only if you have a coordinated team, but if you don't, the underground is receiving changes. I don't know how effective they are at implementing those changes as of right now, but once those changes have been implemented, the underground solo farming is going to be a viable way to get all the gear sets and to get Phoenix credits and kill bosses as well. So I would say look into that. But right now, this is a very effective way. With 8 to 9 minutes for our squad to kill, that means about 4 different drops in 8 to 9 minutes, the equivalent of farming 4 landmarks in the DZ over that period of time, which is never going to happen because there's always outside factors interfering in the dark zone. So again, I'm running 5-piece sentry. I'm running an M1A, important to run sniper builds, and it can be a very effective farming method. So check out the links below in the description if you have any wishes to support the channel, to support our growth. There's a lot incoming for Upper Echelon Gaming. We're expanding the community. We're doing a lot of different stuff, and it's really fun. So if you want to support, check those out. I'm not going to harp on each individual one too much, but the one I will, stress most specifically is the Facebook group. It's going really well. It's a great place to group up. It's a great place to find a squad, to complete content faster and better. And overall, it's just a really positive experience, and I've gotten some great feedback about it. So check that out if you're interested. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for being here. And as always, guys, have a nice day.